The United States Congress is just days away from being back in session, and so on this episode, we're going to give you a timeline for all of the important dates that you need to know about, and we're going to update our chart. I'm going to tell you what I believe they're going to put in the next stimulus package for the American people. Welcome back. This is your Wednesday, July 15th stimulus update. And so let's keep it real simple. Let me put the chart up for you. We are now in July. You can see there Congress has been on recess for a long time. We told you that they would be going on recess, and in fact, they did. Now, the way that they officially put it is state work. They're supposed to be doing state work back in their own districts. Recess, vacation, whatever you want to call it. But you can see on the 20th, they're going to be coming back into session. And by the way, just so you know, the House and the Senate are both equally bad when it comes to going on recess. Just look up their calendars. You can see that. So on the 20th, the Senate's finally going to be back in session. That's the number one important date you need to know about on this stimulus timetable. And when they come back into session on the 20th, there have been reports that they're supposed to be coming back in with pretty much a plan already set in place. They shouldn't be debating it too much between the 20th and 24th. There should be a bunch of things already established within their Senate plan for the stimulus on the 20th. Problem is even if the Republicans can agree, can the Republicans and the Democrats agree? You have the Democrats' HEROES Act at $3 trillion. You have numbers from Republicans being thrown out at $1 trillion. That doesn't seem like an agreeable figure to me. That's why when Peter Navarro said this $2 trillion number, that seemed like maybe there's the compromise. But then recently, a lot of people have been saying, no, he spoke out of place. He shouldn't have said the $2 trillion number. It's more like $1 trillion. And now we're hearing reports of $1.3 trillion. Is that $1.3 trillion because they're adding $300 billion for the American people for the next economic impact payment? And then that $1 trillion is going towards whatever else they originally wanted to do? You can see the 31st is circled there because that's the date that I've been putting down and hoping for, that will finally get this thing fully passed and done, and the president can either sign it on the 31st or the 1st of August. The other reason I put it down is because the unemployment boost technically ends on the 31st. Now, a lot of people won't be seeing a payment after the 25th, just based off of the timeline for payments, so they need to continue the program, and I believe they will. You will see that in my chart. So these are your important dates. However, they're not the only important dates, because if the Congress, if the Senate and the Democrats and the Republicans can't get their act together and get another stimulus bill passed in this time, they do stay in session, as you can see, until August 7th. And so that's really the end of the line time that they can actually pass this thing. And if they don't pass it by August 7th, they are going to go into recess for nearly a month after that. They won't be back in official session until the second week of September. And so that's when you have things like Nancy Pelosi, who was on CNN, and she's having an interview, and she said something like this. She was basically asked, is it possible that you're going to have to cancel your recess? And she said, we will. Now, I put a lot of stuff here in brackets because she just said, absolutely, we have to cancel it. But the question was, will you cancel it because you have to finalize this new bill? So we will absolutely have to delay or cancel the August recess to finalize a new bill. She also said the timetable is the timetable of the American people needing their unemployment insurance, their direct payments, their assistance for rent, and their mortgage foreclosure and forbearance in terms of that. So she is saying that they're going to delay it. Now, why in the world is she saying that? I think she's saying that because she's partially preparing for a battle, meaning she probably thinks that the Republicans aren't going to put forth something that the Democrats in leadership are going to necessarily agree with. And if the Democrats aren't going to agree with it, what's going to happen is the Republicans are going to put forth something, and they're going to say, see, we included stimulus. We included unemployment insurance or an unemployment boost that's going to continue on. We included more money for small businesses. We included money for the states and the local governments. Yes, it only came out to $1.5 trillion, but that's also fiscally responsible. And then you're going to see the Democrats who are going to come out and say, that is not even close to what we need to do right now for the next stimulus package. We will not pass that. And so the Republicans are going to say, see, they're stopping this. They're delaying this. And then the Democrats are going to say, no, they've been delaying this for the last 2 months. And so I think that this quote here where she's saying that they're going to have to delay their recess is because she's preparing herself and Democratic leadership for a fight to go on about if they believe they cannot pass whatever the Senate puts together for the next stimulus package. Remember, this is all political. The Democrats do in fact want to get as much of their agenda into the stimulus bill as possible, and the Republicans want to get as much of their agenda into the stimulus bill as possible as well. That's where you get the differing opinions, and that's where you get that said. So are they going to have to extend that recess? Are they going to be able to get it done by the 7th of August? Are they going to be able to get it done by the end of July? That is what Stephen Mnuchin has been saying. He says, you know what? We're going to work together in a bipartisan way with the Democrats, and we're going to try to get this thing done between the 20th and the end of July. That is directly from Stephen Mnuchin. Now, when they do get this done, what do I think is going to be in it? So here is my stimulus proposals for the American people. This is my percentages. I believe the unemployment boost will continue. I have that at a 90% plus chance of happening. It would be an economic disaster if they did not continue it. There is still 11 million people who lost their job because of the pandemic who are still not back. And even though that June jobs number was good, that just came out in early July, I don't think the July number is going to be good. And that one is coming out in August 7th. Which is actually the last day of the session that Congress is going to be in before their recess. There is going to be a July jobs report on that date, and I don't think it's going to be as good because we're seeing states re-shut down. States that never shut down are shutting down. Businesses are being closed, so I don't think it's going to be good. I believe they're going to continue the unemployment boost, and so that's why I have 90% plus there. $1,200 direct payment, I still believe it's going to happen. I have that at a 90% plus. What are the parameters going to be? Is it going to be more targeted? There are some individuals who keep coming out who say it's going to be more targeted. I don't think so, because there are more people than those that are just earning under $40,000 who need help. A lot of those jobs that are lost are people who are over $40,000. In addition, this is an election year. How crazy would it be to take the working class, middle class Americans and say, you know what, we're not going to help you out. We've given businesses millions of dollars. We've given millionaires and billionaires millions of dollars. There is report after report after report of these just billionaire companies just taking in so much economic relief. Now, granted, they need it. But at the end of the day, how much economic relief are you going to give to millionaires, billionaires, and corporations? And granted, just so you know, I mean, politically, I am not necessarily against businesses. I think businesses are great. I think that corporations do good things. I think that they increase the quality of life in many different ways. And I believe that they need economic assistance too. But when you look at the difference between the amount of help and money these corporations and businesses are getting and millionaires and billionaires are getting versus the American people, it's sort of insane. Yes, we do have the unemployment boost, but right now, about 56% of the people that need the unemployment actually have gotten it. That leaves 44% who needed it who still haven't gotten through the system. You have the stimulus payments. There are still around 30 million stimulus payments that were supposed to go out to individuals that never have yet. And you have them bickering and arguing about whether it's going to be 40,000 or 75,000. It's insane. It's one of the smaller numbers. It's $300 billion. Granted, $300 billion is a lot of money. Right now, it's a lot of money, just like when we spent a lot of money after World War II. But in 30 years, it's not going to be a lot of money, and we will end up paying it back, some through taxes and some through more economic production that's going to occur in the United States of America. I think that they are going to make the $1,200 payment nearly exactly the same as what was in the CARES Act. I don't think they're going to change anything. I think by changing it, they realize that they alienate middle class, middle America, which is a mistake. I believe they realize they don't help out a number of people who do still need the help. And by just trying to target it, you end up keeping people out who really need it. I believe they realize it is an election year. And so I believe they're going to keep it the same. 90+% chance for that. That is my thoughts. Payroll tax cut, I put down to 40%. There hasn't been a lot of talk about it, but Larry Kudlow keeps coming out and saying that the payroll tax cut is a thing that they still want to do. President Donald Trump wants to do this. They call it a payroll tax holiday. That makes it sound better, I guess, if they call it a holiday. This would technically put some money back into the hands of Americans if they have a job. You can see there, if you make $500 per week, you get about $154 more per month in your paycheck. If they want to include that with the $1,200 direct payment and the unemployment boost, okay, that's fine. Heroes pay, I have that at 30%. Reason I have it so low is because nobody is talking about it anymore. And it seems like the Republican leadership just wants to focus on getting people back to work. Recurring payments are not going to be in the next stimulus act. It's probably less than 0.1%. And so now I've given you the payment timeline, all the important dates, what you need to know, where I think all of the proposals are falling. Everything's coming into line. We are now days away. It is Wednesday as of the recording of this video. August 20th is when they're back in session, and so things are going to start to get heated up. We're going to see what they're going to put in it. It's an election year too. We have a lot of different things going on. This is crazy. We're living in a crazy time. But anyway, if you enjoyed the information, consider subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, we will continue to keep you updated in a factual, hopefully entertaining sort of way where you get all the information you need and none of the information you don't need. Hopefully explain it as clearly as possible as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I will catch you guys next time.